In this financial discipline breakdown about money execution, I'm exposing the exact budget protocol gap draining $1,100 monthly from hardworking people who never become wealthy. 4:02 in the morning, Brandon checks his phone. Bank balance, -$31. Payday was 6 days ago. Salary, $3,100 monthly. Works 52 hours weekly minimum. Same burning question, why does grinding this hard never build actual savings? Most people execute flawlessly at work but fail catastrophically at money management. Not because they earn too little, because execution discipline at their job never transfers to their budget. You pour income into accounts with zero execution system controlling where it flows. By the end, you'll know the 5 execution habits wealthy people automate while broke people manually fail at repeatedly. But first, the execution gap that keeps your hard work from ever becoming financial freedom. Here's the brutal financial truth nobody admits. Working 60 hours weekly means absolutely nothing without money execution discipline. You already execute perfectly at work, show up on time, hit deadlines, deliver results, your boss trusts your execution, you get paid for execution consistency. So why does your bank account bleed out every month? Because work execution and money execution are completely different disciplines, and you only mastered one. Think about your paycheck flow. Money hits your account, you mentally allocate it. Rent, bills, groceries, maybe savings if anything's left. Then expenses attack faster than you can defend. Subscriptions drain automatically. Emergency costs appear. Small purchases accumulate. By day 8, the execution plan you mentally created is already destroyed. The execution gap bleeds wealth from people who work the hardest. You execute your job with systems, deadlines, accountability. But you execute your budget with hope, memory, vague intentions. One has infrastructure, the other has chaos. Smart money managers don't work harder. They execute financial discipline the same way you execute work productivity, with predetermined protocols that function automatically whether motivation exists or not. Your budget has an execution gap, which means in financial terms, the distance between what you plan to do with money and what actually happens is where your wealth disappears forever. Most people experience this gap every single month. They intend to save, they plan to track expenses, they promise themselves discipline. Then execution collapses under the smallest financial pressure and they're back to survival mode wondering why nothing changed. Here's what separates wealth builders from paycheck prisoners: execution infrastructure. Wealthy people don't rely on willpower to manage money. They built execution systems that remove decision-making entirely. Their budget runs like autopilot. Money flows into predetermined accounts. Savings transfers execute before consciousness. Bills pay automatically. What remains is actual spendable income, not theoretical numbers they hope to achieve. The execution gap exists because financial discipline requires the same systematic approach as work productivity. But nobody teaches you to treat your budget like a project with deliverables, deadlines, and accountability measures. You execute flawlessly when your boss assigns a project deadline. You break it into tasks. You schedule time, you track progress, you deliver results. That's execution discipline. Now imagine treating your money the same way. Every dollar is a task with a predetermined destination. Every paycheck is a project with execution milestones. Every month has measurable financial deliverables you're accountable for hitting. This execution mindset shift transforms broke workers into wealth builders using the exact same income. Execution Habit 1: Pre-Paycheck Allocation Protocol. Wealthy people execute their budget before money arrives. The day before payday, they've already assigned every dollar a destination. 50% essentials, 30% savings, 20% variable spending. This isn't a suggestion, it's predetermined execution infrastructure. Broke people wait until money hits, then react to expenses as they appear. That's not execution, that's financial chaos with good intentions. Execution habit 2, immediate automation transfers. The second wealthy people's paycheck deposits, automated transfers execute instantly. Savings account receives 30% without human intervention. No willpower needed, no decisions required. The system executes the plan. Broke people manually move money when they remember or when enough accumulates. Manual execution fails 93% of the time because life intervenes and discipline collapses. Execution habit 3, expense tracking execution ritual. Wealthy people execute a daily 5-minute expense audit, every purchase logged, every transaction categorized. This isn't obsessive, it's execution accountability. You can't manage what you don't measure. Broke people track expenses eventually or rely on memory. By month's end, $400 to $800 vanished into unaccounted microtransactions they can't reconstruct. Execution habit 4, weekly budget review execution. Every Sunday, wealthy people execute a financial review, compare planned allocation versus actual spending. Identify execution failures, adjust next week's protocol. This weekly accountability prevents monthly disasters. Broke people check their balance when panic hits. Usually day 15 when the account shows 2-digit numbers and bills haven't processed yet. That's not execution, that's financial anxiety management. Execution habit 5, hard boundary execution on variable spending. Wealthy people give themselves a predetermined variable spending allowance. Once that account hits zero, spending stops. Not negotiable. The execution boundary enforces discipline automatically. Broke people use credit or debit freely until declined. They execute spending decisions emotionally, not systematically. Every purchase becomes a willpower battle they eventually lose. These 5 habits don't require higher income. They require execution discipline transferred from work productivity to money management. Connor, 29, operations coordinator at a logistics company, single, living with roommate Jake to split $1,200 rent. Monthly salary, $3,400. Worked 58-hour weeks consistently for 3 years. Woke at 5:29 every morning, jaw clenched. Phone showed bank app, $47 remaining, 9 days until payday. Screen displayed 23 active payment plans, none above $81. Tuesday, November 7th, 1:53 in the afternoon. Supervisor asked, "Can you cover Friday's shift?" Connor thought, "Need the overtime cash." Opened car after work. Balance, -$12, transaction pending, overdraft incoming. Connor executed perfectly at work, never missed deadlines, managed complex shipping schedules, coordinated teams across time zones, but his money execution was non-existent. Paycheck arrived, expenses attacked, money evaporated, no system, pure survival. Day 1, created execution protocol, opened separate savings account, set automatic transfer, $270 transfers every payday before anything else, even with 23 payment plans bleeding his income. Day 5, started daily expense tracking and phone notes. Morning coffee, $3.90. Lunch, $9.40. Gas, $42. First time seeing where money actually flowed instead of guessing. Day 12, reviewed first week expenses. Discovered $213 spent on unplanned purchases. Delivery apps, $78. Convenience store runs, $41. The execution gap was visible now. Invisible spending became measurable data. Month 3, automated entire budget execution system. Paycheck hit account. Savings transfer executed automatically. Bills paid automatically. Variable spending went into separate checking account with hard limit. No more mental math, no more willpower battles. System executed the plan. Month 5, emergency car repair, $430 needed. Open savings app, $1,350 available. Paid it. Account still had money remaining. First time a financial emergency didn't trigger panic and debt. Roommate Jake said Sunday, "You stopped checking your phone every 20 minutes. That's different." Month 8, supervisor offered promotion. Connor negotiated hard because his budget execution gave him financial confidence he never had before. Got it, $250 monthly increase. Connor didn't become rich, became someone whose hard work finally builds actual savings instead of disappearing into execution chaos. Right now, open your Notes app. Your next paycheck is coming. Before it arrives, you're executing one financial discipline habit that stops the execution gap from bleeding your wealth. Not next month, not when you feel organized, before your next paycheck deposits. Pick one execution habit, create automatic savings transfer, start daily expense tracking, schedule weekly budget review, set hard boundary on variable spending account. Just one systematic execution action. Financial discipline builds through execution infrastructure, not motivation surges that fade when life gets hard. You execute flawlessly at work because systems force accountability. Your budget needs the same execution rigor. The productivity you bring to your job, execute it on your money, every dollar, every paycheck, starting now. Common execution discipline: if you set up one automated financial system today and close the gap between hard work and actual wealth building. If you refuse to grind 60 hours weekly while staying broke forever, the video on screen shows you how to maintain execution discipline permanently without requiring constant willpower. Smash that like, share this with someone working extremely hard wondering why their bank account never reflects their productivity. Subscribe because every week I show you how to transform work execution into wealth execution. Drop in the comments which execution habit are you implementing first to stop your money from bleeding out. Let's build systematic discipline together.